Thank you, Dr. Levine. It's great to be here with you this morning. Welcome, everyone. I'm sure you've been welcomed like 5,000 times, but welcome to Hopkins. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Joe Cofrancesco, who's the director of the Institute for Excellence in Education, but is traveling this week, and so I'm stepping in as a member of the managing board to talk a little bit about the Institute. And I would say the main message, if you remember just one thing, is that there is and exists an Institute for Excellence in Education here at Johns Hopkins that does a number of things which I'll talk about, but provides support for folks in their educational efforts here in teaching learners at Johns Hopkins. So what the Institute does, you can see there's sort of four main pillars that are listed on the left-hand side of the slide here. We have efforts that I'll talk a little bit about to help you improve your teaching with a number of resources available therein through both live and online courses. We have a number of ways that we help to support your research and innovations in education with grant funding opportunities, and I'll have a slide about that as well. There's both small and larger grants, as well as the membership and the leadership of the IEE is always available to provide advice and mentoring around education scholarship efforts if those are of interest to you. We have a number of ways in which we recognize contributions and accomplishments of educators here at the institution through awards, and they have a series of competencies and metrics that can be used to help guide promotional efforts. For example, if you're pursuing a promotional path on the education scholarship, from an education scholarship perspective here at Hopkins. And then finally, we have a community of educators that we support through a number of different initiatives. You can see some of them listed on the slide here: grand rounds, an annual conference. There's some other events, teaching camps, and so on that I'll mention. So if you perform a web search for Johns Hopkins IEE or Institute for Excellence in Education, you'll be brought to the web page here. The link is at the bottom of the page, but you can find all of the resources that I'll talk about here through the web page that exists for the IEE. And so I'll just talk a little bit about some of the offerings of the Institute. You can see sort of central here on the slide are foundational principles for teaching and education. And over the course of the past several years, led by Dr. Levine, the Institute has developed a series of half-day courses and workshops around a number of foundational components of teaching and education in medicine. So you can see there's a workshop on teaching and facilitating learning. I won't read all of them, assessment and education, et cetera, going around the circle. We recently started one on coaching in medicine, and these are held periodically over the course of the year, and so you'll receive emails about these coming through that are sent to all faculty to let you know when you can sign up. Some are in person, some are online, and some are hybrid, where you can learn about different foundational aspects of being an educator in medicine. So, and these are part of the Institute's efforts to help improve teaching of medicine throughout the institution. There's sort of the triangle on the top right of the slide where you can see working in collaboration together. You have the Faculty Development Program here, the Office of Faculty, and the Institute for Excellence in Education. And so there are a number of offerings therein. I mentioned on the previous slide a course in the foundations of teaching and learning, and this is offered throughout the year periodically that you'll get messaging about. I mentioned, I think, briefly that there are camps. We have teaching camp, one in the summer and one in the winter, where we have workshops and other opportunities to meet with educators, improve or learn new teaching skills, and so those change annually, and please keep your eye out for those announcements. And then also we have a website pictured on the bottom right of the slide where there's a series of modules about a range of topics, learners as teachers, adult learning theory, assessment tools, and we're updating this on a sort of a continuous rolling basis with new modules about the use of technology in medicine and other aspects. So these are available to all faculty through the website that you can see here if you have capacity to review those. The second pillar that I had talked about is trying to inspire and support research, scholarship, and innovation within education. And I mentioned we do this through a variety of ways, both larger and smaller grants. And so the largest grant that we offer annually is the Faculty Education Scholars Program, a $50,000 award to support education, innovation, and research. You can see that last year's recipient was looking at holistic AI-based residency applicant evaluation and screening technology led by one of our faculty members. think actually in ophthalmology is leading that effort. And then we have an annual Shark Tank. This is part of our annual education conference where folks are put in submissions for grant funding, and then there's a panel. You can't see them, and you may not know these folks yet, but other education leaders at Hopkins are the judges of this contest and the sharks, if you will. And so faculty present their proposals to this group, and voting takes place, and awards are handed out at the end of the conference. And then on a rolling basis throughout the year, for a variety of different domains, humanism in medicine, CME-oriented education projects, and other education projects, there's opportunities to apply for pilot funding, small $5,000 grants that can potentially go on to be springboards to larger efforts. And we've had really quite a number of faculty successfully start education initiatives with these small grants and then go on to much larger success. So we look forward to receiving your applications for one or more of these grants over the course of your time here. We have as our third pillar, valuing and recognizing educators. The next slide talks about educator awards. I'll just make a brief comment about the educator competencies and metrics, which did not get included in this presentation for brevity purposes, but Dr. Levine and Dr. Cofrancesco have really led an institutional effort to define and outline competencies by which someone pursuing an education leadership or a scholarship path can pursue promotion as an educator at Johns Hopkins. So if that's an area of interest, I encourage you to take a look at those, both from a career planning perspective and then with an eye towards promotion in the future. And then part of that is also, being recognized for excellence as an educator. And again, I won't name each of these categories, but you can see that there are a number of different ways in which the Institute recognizes teaching and scholarship and education excellence at the institution. And these awards are granted annually, but nominations are accepted on a rolling basis throughout the year. So again, encourage you to visit the website and take a look over this remarkable list of awards and the criteria for nomination. And then finally, the fourth pillar is to foster a community of educators here at the institution, and there's a number of ways in which we do this. We have quarterly grand rounds on hot topics within medical education. I mentioned that there's an annual education conference and celebration. You may wish to mark your calendars for March 7th if you don't have anything going on that day, where we'll have our annual meeting. There's medical education abstracts are presented. We have a core plenary talk and workshops in the afternoon. It's typically a fantastic day. Also not listed here are the winter and summer teaching camps that I mentioned. And we have sort of a LinkedIn sort of equivalent where folks can put their information in their areas of interest, either topics on which they'd like to receive mentorship or coaching or guidance, as well as areas of existing expertise that you might be able to share with the education community here. So you can register as part of IEE Linked for the institution. So that's the IE overview. Here's some contact information, and please visit the website, and we welcome any questions that you have about advancing your careers as an educator at Hopkins. Thanks so much.